All right, everyone, welcome back to the podcast. Today, we're diving into something I think we all feel but rarely talk about explicitly: timing. That invisible force that just shifts everything. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely, Theo. It's like the universe's quiet director. Sometimes you're on a path, things are going smoothly, and then bam, a tiny shift in the clock and your entire trajectory changes. For better or worse.
It's so true. I was just thinking about that the other day. Remember that job interview I had last year? The one I was so desperate for? I got rejected, and I was crushed. But then, a month later, this other opportunity popped up, and it was 10 times better. If I'd gotten the first one, I wouldn't have even been looking. It was all about the timing.
That's a perfect example, Ruby. We often look at these moments retrospectively and say, oh, it was meant to be. But in the thick of it, when you're experiencing the bad timing, it feels like pure misfortune. It really highlights how our perception of good or bad timing evolves.
Exactly, Ethan. It's hard to see the string pulling the puppet when you're the puppet, right? But it's not just big life-altering events. It's the small stuff, too. Like you leave 5 minutes earlier and you miss a massive traffic jam. Or you run into an old friend just when you needed some advice.
Or you decide to buy a stock and suddenly it dips and you think terrible timing, but then it skyrockets next week. Or vice versa. It's like financial markets are a constant, real-time experiment in the power of timing.
Oh, tell me about it. I once bought concert tickets, like the second they went on sale. Thought I was so smart. Then a week before the show, the artist announced a whole new album drop, and the entire set list changed. I felt like I'd bought tickets to a different concert. Bad timing, even though I was on time for the sale.
That's fascinating because it brings up the question of whether timing is truly an invisible force or if it's a series of probabilities and human decisions that we interpret as such. Is it purely random chance, or is there some underlying current?
I think it's a bit of both, honestly. There's certainly a probabilistic element to it. If you throw a dart enough times, you'll hit a bullseye. But then there are those moments that feel almost orchestrated. Like you just happen to be in the right place at the right moment for something truly extraordinary to happen. It feels more than just statistical.
So, how much of it is us then? Our intuition. Sometimes you get a gut feeling, I should wait on this, or I need to act now. And it pays off. Is that a feeling for the timing or just a lucky guess?
I definitely think intuition plays a role. I remember wanting to renovate my kitchen right before the pandemic hit. I kept putting it off, just felt like it wasn't the right time, even though I had the money saved. Good thing, too, because contractors disappeared, prices went through the roof. My gut saved me a huge headache.
That's a classic example of what some call flow or synchronicity, when events align in a meaningful way without a clear causal link. Carl Jung talked a lot about synchronicity, these acausal connecting principles. It suggests there might be a deeper pattern to the universe than simple cause and effect.
And that's where it gets really interesting for me. Because if it's more than just randomness, if there's an unseen pattern, how do we tap into it? How do we become more attuned to this invisible force?
Well, I think part of it is just being ready. You can't control when an opportunity knocks, but you can control if you're prepared to open the door. Having your skills sharp, your mind open, your network active, that sets you up to capitalize when the timing is right.
Yeah, like that quote, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. It's not just about the opportunity showing up, it's about being primed for it. I've missed out on things because I wasn't ready, even if the timing was technically right for the opportunity to appear.
And sometimes it's about patience. Look at history, for example. Many great inventions or ideas were ahead of their time. Leonardo da Vinci's designs, for instance. Brilliance, but the technology or societal infrastructure wasn't there yet to support them. Their timing was off by centuries.
That's a profound point, Ethan. It's not just about an individual's readiness, but also the readiness of the world around them. The collective consciousness, the technological advancements, the prevailing economic conditions. All these macro factors play into whether an idea truly flourishes or languishes.
So, then, how do you even begin to gauge that? How do you know if your idea is just a little bit too early or too late? It feels like you're always just throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping it sticks at the right moment.
I think you just have to keep trying, right? Because sometimes what seems like bad timing for one thing opens up the perfect window for another. Like, I wanted to launch my pottery business a few years ago, but life got in the way. I was so bummed. But then, when I finally launched it during lockdown, everyone was looking for at-home hobbies. My bad timing turned into incredibly good timing for the market.
That's resilience, Ruby, and it speaks to adapting to the current. You can't control the flow of the river, but you can learn to navigate your boat within it. It's about recognizing the shifting currents and adjusting your sails. It moves from passive observation of timing to active engagement with it.
That's a fantastic way to put it, Ethan. It's not just a passive force we're subjected to, but something we can, to some extent, dance with. We can learn its rhythms even if we can't fully predict its next move.
But what about those really painful moments? The missed connections, the opportunities that evaporated just as you reached for them. How do you reconcile those with this invisible force? Do you just say, oh, it wasn't the right time, and move on?
It's hard, Anna. It really is. I think sometimes you just have to grieve it, you know? Like, really acknowledge the disappointment. But then, for me anyway, eventually, usually much later, I can look back and see how that closed door actually led me to a window I never would have noticed otherwise. It's never immediate, though.
And that's the wisdom that comes with experience, isn't it? The understanding that setbacks aren't always definitive ends but often redirecting forces. It's not about being fatalistic, but about accepting that some things are beyond our immediate control and finding meaning in the aftermath.
It makes me think about relationships, too. How many times have you heard people say, we met at the wrong time? Or, conversely, it just felt right. The timing was perfect. It's like relationships have their own internal clocks that need to align.
Oh, absolutely. I've definitely experienced that. You can meet someone amazing, but if one of you is in a completely different life stage or headspace, it just won't work, no matter how much chemistry there is. It's frustrating because you can't force that alignment.
My husband and I met in college, but we didn't start dating until years later. We were friends first, and it just never felt right to cross that line. Then, one day, completely out of the blue, everything clicked. It was like a switch flipped for both of us simultaneously. That's timing, right there.
It suggests a sort of readiness, doesn't it? Not just for external opportunities, but for internal shifts within ourselves. The timing has to be right within you to be open to a new chapter, a new relationship, or even a new version of yourself.
So if timing is this invisible force, how do we best interact with it? Is it about patience, intuition, preparation, or a mix of all three? Is there a way to cultivate good timing?
I think it starts with self-awareness, knowing when you're ready, when you're pushing too hard, or when you need to step back. And then being present enough to actually see the opportunities when they arise, instead of being so focused on what you think should happen.
Yeah, and I think it's also about letting go of the idea that you can control everything. That's a big one for me. Sometimes you just have to surrender to the flow and trust that things will unfold as they should, even if it's not on your preferred schedule.
And perhaps embracing the failure or the missed moment as simply information, not as an indictment but as feedback. It tells you something about the external environment or your own internal state, allowing you to calibrate for the next opportune moment.
That's a powerful shift in perspective. To view bad timing not as a closed door, but as a signpost. It really transforms how you approach setbacks. So instead of being disheartened, you become more observant.
It definitely takes practice, and a lot of self-compassion, honestly, because it's easy to beat yourself up over perceived missed chances. But maybe those chances weren't missed, just redirected.
I like that! Redirected, not missed. It makes me feel a lot better about some of those cringe-worthy moments in my past where I felt like I totally bombed. Maybe I was just being redirected.
And that redirection itself is part of the invisible force, isn't it? It's the universe, or life, nudging you towards something else, something potentially more aligned, even if you can't see the grand plan yet.
I think that's a beautiful way to encapsulate it, Ethan. Timing, this invisible force, isn't just about things happening to us, but about a constant, dynamic interplay. It's a dance between our actions, our readiness, and the mysterious unfolding of life itself. A profound thought to leave everyone with today.
Absolutely. It really changes how you look at the day ahead, doesn't it? Knowing that every moment has its own potential, its own perfect timing waiting to unfold.
Yeah, it makes me want to be a little more open, a little more present, and a lot less stressed about trying to force things. Thanks, guys.
It's been a fantastic discussion. Let's all try to notice those subtle nudges and redirections this week. It might just change your perspective.
Indeed. To our listeners, thank you for joining us today on this journey into the invisible forces that shape our lives. We'll catch you next time. Stay curious.